Hello and welcome to Friday's bonus edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm hoping we're going to find ourselves ensorcelled again by the Times Cryptic crossword, which Mark and I have been trying to solve for you every Friday. Normally the hardest day of the week. The Times SNITCH, which is the unofficial rating of the puzzle, suggests that today's puzzle is average difficulty, so not perhaps the hardest that we've done battle with, but hopefully it will still be a good puzzle. And with that, let's click it. Let's click it and get cracking. Is the window? I think the window looks in the right place. So let's have a look. One across. Obscenely rich, sets meals out occasionally for a feast. I want that to be something like Christmas. Obscenely, I think, is an anagram indicator here. So I'm thinking of an anagram of rich. Maybe an anagram of rich sets, but then I need one more letter. And the sets meals out, the word occasionally makes me think we have to take regular letters. Perhaps from sets meals out. So maybe the even numbered letters or the odd numbered letters. I can't see what it is. STM. Yeah, no, it is. It is Christmas. Isn't that weird? That is absolutely weird. So that is a great example of how sort of, I presume some part of my subconscious has looked at that clue and worked it out in a way that my conscious brain couldn't work it out. So, okay, I now understand it. A feast is Christmas. Christmas is a feast. And you can see obscenely rich is an anagram of just the word rich. So that gives us the CHRI bit. Now if we look at sets meals out occasionally, and we take the odd numbered letters, we would get S, T, M, A, S. So we're taking those letters out occasionally. And that gives us the answer that I first thought of when I initially looked at the clue, which is grand, because that's going to give us some starting letters. So, behaviour of channel under study. Okay, I don't know what this is yet, but when I see study in a cryptic crossword, you have to have a bank of short synonyms for words in your brain. It really helps. So study, can we think of any short synonyms for the word study? Well, there are two that you need to think about. One of them is a den. A den is a study. And also the word con. To con is to study. Oh, I haven't got my dictionary up. Let's have a look here. I do have my dictionary up. Let's have a look at con. And if we go down here, so that's the normal meaning there. Con is to swindle or trick. Con as in, here we go. So con, and you can see to know, to learn, to study, and that's why this matters. So I'm presuming this ends with study because we're putting a word for channel. I'm thinking it's duct actually now. So a word for a channel under a word that means study is a down clue. So if we put something under something, we put it beneath it. And a duct is a channel, conduct is behaviour. So very simple once we knew that the word study was indicating the word con. Now if you're new to cryptic crosswords, that is not something you're ever going to know, because to con it's a strange word. My window is rattling. It's windy today. Sorry. Anyway, let's have a look at two down. Difficulty. Rub, I'm thinking. As well, it is. It's ruby with the end of the word ruby being chipped off or removed. So a difficulty is a rub. Again, a slightly odd synonym, but I think the dictionary will support it. Let's have a look. An impediment. A difficulty. In fact, it's just straightforwardly listed there. Look, rub, difficulty. Hopefully you can see where the cursor's moving. What I won't do is use the dictionary before I know the answer. Obviously, that would be cheating. We don't do that on Cracking the Cryptic. So, 9 across. Opera company. Oh, there is. Is it ENO, English National Opera Company, or something like that? There is an abbreviation for an opera company, which I should know and don't. Opera company on cue, almost. Veto returning. Unless it's unless it's the name. I'm thinking Nabokov or something. On cue, almost. Veto. I mean, words for veto. Oh, well, veto is a ban, isn't it? So that returns somehow. I haven't worked out how this works yet. I don't think I know this. I think it's the name of an opera company. Unless it's the name of an opera. I feel I should know it if it's the name of an opera. I mean, I'm not brilliant at opera, but I would fancy I would know the names of quite a lot of operas. I'm not sure. That's a bit embarrassing. Okay, let's have a look at 11. Okay, I haven't done anything here beyond read the first word of the clue, which is superior. So I'm thinking upper, but I'm also aware that U, believe it or not, just the letter U can often be a synonym for words like superior. Let's check that out. We did see this a few weeks ago. So where are we going to look? U. A Burmese title of respect. That sometimes comes up in the listener crossword. Here. U is an adjective. So if you describe something as you are saying it's found among the upper classes, hence socially acceptable upper class, or, I'm guessing, superior. So, course in sport, backed. Well, okay. Alright, forget everything I've said about you. You is not relevant to the answer here. My first thought was correct. This is upper. Now, then the challenge is, how do we justify that this is the answer? So we have to look at the wordplay. The wordplay is course in sport, backed. Now, do we know any short synonyms for sport? Well, there is one that comes up in cryptic crosswords quite a lot. And it's another, it's another thing you're just never going to get unless you watch videos like this one. And it's RU. And believe it or not, RU is an abbreviation for rugby union. So sport here is RU for rugby union. And inside rugby union, you can see PPE. Now, PPE is politics, philosophy and economics, the degree course you can do at Oxford University. So we've got PPE inside sport RU being backed, reversed, to give upper for superior. Again, very straightforward if you have experience, absolutely impossible if you don't. Now, we've got a choice now. I'm going to think, I think I want to look at 3 down. I'm very nervous about this 9 across. Guarantee I curtsy clumsily. Okay, words like clumsily, they're shouting anagrams some letters. We have to treat something clumsily. Now, I curtsy is clearly 8 letters, so we're looking for a word which means guarantee. I'm thinking it must be security. A guarantee is a security. So, company on cue. A cue is like a prompt, isn't it? Or a stick in snooker. Oh, it's not. I do know this. This is the name of a. It's Nabucco. I think I do know this as an opera. Now, how do we justify this then? We've got company, which is CO, and that's being put on Q almost, most of the word Q, CU, and all of the word for veto, which is ban, all returning and reversed, and we get Nabucco, which I think is an opera. So this must be, what do we think, Moose? No, hang on, child devouring God, not left to sulk around. The window is going nuts. Child devouring God. Ooh. I'm not very knowledgeable on child devouring gods, I have to say. I mean, to sulk, I'm thinking mope. I Don't know. I'm not sure what that is. 5 down. Okay, well, thus looks like it's so, doesn't it, at the start of this one? Bird got food on river, its flow never still. There's a lot going on in that, and I don't know what that one is. Let's try 12 down. In part of speech, well, okay, that could be, I'm wondering about things like pronoun. Adjust place at foot of page. Adjust place. That sounds like an anagram, doesn't it? Participle? It's not quite right. Not sure. 14 across. Handling foul matter at hospital department. Okay, here's another tip for you. Hospital department is very often ENT for ear, nose and throat. So handling. Treatment? It is. Okay, foul matter is an anagram of the word matter, which is treat M. We add ENT to the end, we get treatment, which is the handling of something, is the treatment of it. So what's this word then? Then not half. Well, then not half. If we take only half of the word then, we get on, which I'm guessing is going to be the start of this. Poorly received by celebrity. Celebrity could be a star with ill inside it or something. Quite informally. Poorly received by celebrity. Oh goodness, this is another word that I don't think I'm familiar with. It's certainly not jumping to my brain. All right, I think we're going to have to go further afield. 18 across. Choke. As last of mouthful breaks tooth. Well, the last letter of the word mouthful is L. And that's breaking a 3-letter word for a tooth. So I'm thinking cog. And that would give us clog. And if you clog something, you choke it. So that feels fairly straightforward. Let's try 18 down. In prison, again, short synonyms for prison. What are we thinking? Well, there's jail, beginning with J, or jail beginning with G. Don't forget, G-A-O-L. Can, I'm thinking, is most likely here. In prison, so if we put the word can around something, could having cut sleeves off. Ooh. Jacket. Thinking of cagoule, but that's not the right length, is it? I mean, could having cut sleeves off suggests that we're cutting the edges off a word that means could. Or maybe, but that would give us OUL. And then we need, cage, maybe for prison. Oh, so it is cagoule. Again, so that's me not knowing how to spell the word cagoule. But apparently it can be spelt like that, which is quite odd. That doesn't look right to me, but apparently that is right. So what we've got here is not can for prison, but cage for prison. And then could, the word could, where we cut its edges off, because apparently words now have sleeves. I mean, there are some people who will solve this clue and will not like it because they will refuse to accept that a word can have a sleeve. And I have a small amount of sympathy for that. So sometimes you might see words having, or taking the roof off a word is another common one in a down clue. You know, do words have roofs that can be removed? Well, only very loosely. But anyway, what we've got here, could with its sleeves cut off, so we cut off the edges as if it had sleeves like a shirt, and we get a jacket, which is a cagoule, spelt like this. Now let me just check whether there are any other spellings of cagoule. Oh, there are. Okay, I feel a bit better that I didn't know that it was the second of 5 different ways of spelling cagoule. So I think I've seen cagoule spelled in a different way before, and therefore I didn't know this one. Okay, let's try I've just seen bird here. I'm thinking guillemot, which is a word I can never say, actually. I always say it guillemot, but then I think people say, oh, what's the correct way you're meant to pronounce that word? It's a word I only ever see in crosswords. Ah. I'm not sure. I should actually look at the dictionary, shouldn't I? But I don't know the answer to this, so I'm not checking the dictionary yet. But anyway, 22 across, bird. Maybe guillemot, maybe pronounced wrongly. In molt, one leg scruffy. Well, it is guillemot, isn't it? If that's how you say it, because it's just an anagram of molt. One, we've seen this a lot recently. One is the letter I. And that can be justified in a number of ways, but for example, the Roman numeral for the number 1 is the letter I, and then leg. And we anagram all these up, and we get the bird. Let's actually look that up and see if there's any pronunciation guidance that I can. It seems to say it's guillemot, doesn't it? Guillemot. So the U sort of UI sound doesn't seem to be justified there. Okay, there we go. So now let's look at. Let's look at 23 down. Drunk. So wished to sleep. Drunk. Toped. So wished to sleep. I'm not sure. My first thought is toped, but I really can't see why that's right. I was thinking more like tobed, as in to bed. You might want to go to bed if you wanted to go to sleep, but tobed isn't a word. At least I don't think it is. Try 25. Not the best. Financial package for student. Thinking words like undergrad here, but not the best. Financial package for student. Grant, not the best. I don't know, I'm afraid. 28. Offender shortly back in Clare's place. Well, okay. Ennis is an Irish town, isn't it, in County Clare, and that's spelt like that. An offender is a sinner. So the word sinner, which is an offender, is taken backwards, and it's cut short, treated shortly, and that gives us Ennis. Tricky. 21. Masses of stone parted by large implements. Okay, pliers, perhaps. Appears. Masses of stone. I don't really like that. I mean, it's going to be the name of a tool, I think. An L for large, which is going to be this L, I think. Tongs. No. Masses of stone. Maybe it is pier. Do you get a pier of stone? I don't like that. I don't recognise that very well. En famille? Oh, fame for celebrity. Yes. Okay, so this one, quite informally, en famille, as you would do with your family, so it may not be quite as formal as with people you don't know. So we've got poorly, if you're poorly or ill, and that's received by celebrity. Now I thought of name. A name is a celebrity. I thought of star. A star is a celebrity. I didn't think of fame, which is a very simple synonym for celebrity, and that's my bad. So en famille is correct there. What's this one again? Premonition or something. In part of speech. Preposition. Adjust, reposition. Adjust the place of something, you reposition it. So, and you put that at the foot beneath an abbreviation for page, which is P, and that gives us preposition. And then what's this one? Unideal, not the best. Unideal. Yeah, okay. If something is unideal, it's not the best. And a financial package for a student, if we divide the word unideal up slightly differently, we could get a uni deal, which might be a financial package for a student. So pliers. I'm not sure. I think I'm missing a trick with this. Masses of stone. I was thinking of like cairns or screes. Mass of stone. I like cairn, but it's got nothing to do with this answer. What's those things at Stonehenge called? Stele or something, isn't it? Stele. I don't think it's that. Masses of stone. Carats. That they measure. A carat measures the mass of a stone. A diamond. Okay, maybe approaching it differently. To implement is maybe it's a verb to implement rather than a tool and implement. I don't think so. Shears, but obviously the L would be wrong, and the E. I'm just trying to think of implements that might fit that aren't pliers. I mean, it's so tempting for it to be pliers, because piers is a word. But I really don't reckon a stone pier. I just don't know that. I'm really feeling concerned that that's just incorrect. I'm not. I'm going to come back to it, I think. 29. House improvement, free of strain. House improvement, extension? Yeah, okay. An extension. And if something is free of strain, it is X without, X can mean without, tension, which can be a strain. If you're suffering from tension, you're suffering from strain. So something X tension is free from strain. The question mark there is to indicate that it's a bit of a punny answer. So 23 down. Oh, so toped is totally wrong. Drunk. So wished to sleep. So drunk is a... Oh. I don't know. I just haven't got this one. Oh, we should be able to get 27 down. Well, sash. There is a Japanese sash is an obi. So I'd be amazed if this isn't the answer to this. Somewhat too big. Well, okay, there's one of these in every Times crossword clue. Well, almost every Times crossword. Sorry, not clue, but almost every Times crossword has a hidden answer, where the letters of the answer are actually written out in the clue, and there must be some indication of this. So if you look at the words too big there, and we take some of those letters, so somewhat of the letters of the phrase too big, you can see spelt out OBI, obi, which is a sash. Let me just justify that for you. Obi. No, we don't want the witchcraft one. There you go, the Japanese sash that you wear around a kimono. So that's going to be obi. Let's try 26. Deficient blood in pale old pope. This could be the name of an old pope, of which there are plenty. In pale. Wan, W-A-N. Deficient blood. What does that mean? Don't really like a W here either. To wit, I don't think is a word. Let's try. Oh, hang on. Let's try 19. Much harder at first to stab rodent. Its tail cut off here. Much harder. Where would you cut off a rodent's tail? Farmhouse? So I quite like that. I don't understand it for a moment yet, but hard. Oh yes, well, it probably is actually, because I think much here is being used as a synonym for far. If you're far gone, are you much gone? It's probably okay, isn't it? And then harder at first is H, the first letter of the word harder, and that stabs, i.e. enters a word for a rodent, which is a mouse. And then a rodent might have its tail cut off in a farmhouse. So lies cut off our nails with cut off their tails with a carving knife. If you've ever seen such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice. So in 3 blind mice, was that in a farmhouse? Those 3 blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife who cut. Yeah, so the farmer's wife would have been in a farmhouse probably. So I think that's, again, very punny, hence the question mark. But that does seem justifiable. Right, let's try, oh no, hang on, let's try this one, because we've got the starting letter. So peer over there, near the start. I want that to be early on. A peer in the House of Lords is an earl. Over there is yon, as in yonder, and near the start is early on. Right, let's go back to this then. Oh. Pope Anthony? Was there a Pope Anthony? And what's that got to do with the glue? Nothing. I don't think. Let's try 15 down. What's thought unlucky? 13. If one pushes forward in ceremony held in the north. I mean, it's 13. I can understand most of the wordplay, but I haven't quite understood all of it yet. So let's go through this. So the north here at the end of the clue is the word the, and N for north. And then in the middle of that, we've got the word rite for a ceremony, R-I-T-E, in which the I, has been pushed forward, so it appears earlier. So it's sort of, that's what's creating the I-R-T-E in the middle of the N. And that gets us the answer. So let's have a look. Car thief has no joy. Joy rider as a passenger. Passenger is a rider. So that's a slightly straightforward one, isn't it? Okay, let's come back here. So deficient blood. Wow. Maybe the clue maybe the answer means deficient, and then blood in pale old Pope. Gregory might be an old Pope. Pale is grey. Oh, blood is gory. Oh, wow, or gore perhaps even. Yeah, gore. Okay, so what we've got here is deficient blood, i.e. most of a word that means blood, which I think is gore, G-O-R-E, without its end, because it's deficient. That all goes in pale. A word for pale is grey, to give us Gregory, and I think Pope Gregory I've vaguely heard of. So drunk is tight. Oh, and so wish to sleep. Well, if somebody says to you, sleep tight, that is, you know, that's probably how you would like to sleep, if to sleep tight, isn't it? So I understand that one. We've got potentially pliers in here, although I don't know, obviously, piers as a mass of stone. Let's try... Should we try 13 across? That would be huge if we could get this. Novelist's old letter, kept by husband with reverence. Novelist, so it's probably the name of a novelist. Old letter, could be a Greek letter. So do try and familiarise yourself with the Greek letters, including the short ones like mu and nu, and pi and phi. Kept by husband, that would be H perhaps. Oh, mooch. Mooch, wasn't this about sulking? Oh yes, Moloch. Moloch. I have heard of Moloch, and that does ring a vague bell as a child-devouring god. So child-devouring god, Moloch, without L, and to sulk around is to mooch. So we only got that because of the H here, from husband, which is, I mean, this is why cryptic crosswords are so cool. You always get a few chances. So novelist, Hawthorne. Ah, yes, a thorn. Yes, this is right, I'm sure. Yes, okay. So there's a few tricky things about this. So the novelist is Hawthorne. An old letter is a thorn, and let me justify that for you, because that is probably not what most people think thorn means. And here we go. The Old English and Old Norse letter is thorn. So that's thorn in the middle, and then husband H and reverence is awe, A-W-E. Very nice. So this is something like soda water, then, is it? It's something water. Let's put the water in. Thus, bird got food, ate on river are its flow never still. I think it is soda water, because soda water sort of bubbles, doesn't it? So I think how this works is we've got thus for so. Daw, D-A-W, is a bird, as in a jackdaw. Let's justify that to ourselves. I'm not changing the answer, so there we go. A daw is a bird of the crow family, especially a jackdaw. And it's also an archaic name for a simpleton, which is how I think I feel at solving this crossword, which has not proved very easy for me. So we've got daw, and then got food, ate on river, are. So it's quite convoluted to deconstruct the wordplay, and not an easy definition. It's flow never still. I mean, so equating that with soda water before you can confidently write soda water in because of the checking letters is not easy to do. So under false impression, law lord pitched into act. Okay, well, the only thing I'm thinking here is that can I think of a short synonym for an act? A deed is what I'm thinking of. So I'm thinking this is going to be something like that, and it probably means under false impression, like demented or obviously not demented, but law lord pitched. So I need a 3-letter word for a law lord. Oof. And what's the word pitched doing there? Is that suggesting we reverse a word for law lord? I don't know. Under false impression. Deluded? Oh yeah, it is deluded. Lud, me lud. Lud is a word for a lord. The word pitched is interesting there, isn't it? So under false impression, you're deluded. Law lord, I think that is just lud, is pitched into an act. I think that's just sort of flavour text, isn't it? Under false impression, you could just write law lord in act, but law lord pitched into act is sort of, it's sort of making the clue a bit more redolent, a little bit more atmospheric. Let me show you lud for lord. There we go. Lud, a form of lord used when addressing a judge or facetiously. Right, let's try this one. We ought to be able to get this, shouldn't we? A clumsy person comes up nervous and uncooperative. Clumsy person, I'm thinking oaf, but that's got nothing to do with this. Nervous, shy, bolshy. Is it bolshy? Is a clumsy person a lob? I don't think so. Uncooperative. I mean, I really like bolshy as a definition of uncooperative, but lob for a clumsy person. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can justify the B. Limited by obligation to accept. I wanted that to be debut. An obligation being a debt. Oh no, it's bound, isn't it? Okay, so I was thinking of debt around you to give debut, which would have worked for the wordplay but doesn't mean limited. But bound means limited. And that's got U for uniform. In bond, which is an obligation. So bolshi looks right. It's just not... I wonder if there's another spelling of bolshi. I don't think so. Clumsy person. Lab, leb, lib, lob, lub. I think it just must be a meaning of lob that I didn't know. I'm not going to change bolshi, so let's look at it now. Lob. A lout. There we go. A clumsy person. It's just a straight definition I didn't know. Wow. Okay, so this is under something, isn't it? Railway. Underground. Okay, yeah, I like that clue. That's probably my favourite clue so far because it's so. It's really simple and yet lovely. So how does it work? Well, a railway is the underground. Let's go on the tube. Let's go on the underground. So that's the definition. And if something is not smooth enough, it's underground, as in if you grind something, you smooth it. So in the past tense, it would be ground. So it's underground, it's just lovely, isn't it? Not smooth enough. It's been underground. And then what's this one then? Doddery, maybe? No. Dudgeon, resentment. As first of nights in prison, dungeon turns into day. Yes. Okay, so state of high dudgeon, you have a state of resentment. And the first letter of nights, N, in a word for prison, dungeon, has turned into day, which can be D abbreviated. So dudgeon is the answer there. This looks like iron or wren. Jenny Wren has no check on sprain. Wrench. Gosh. Okay, so check has an abbreviation CH, believe it or not. Again, don't just think that you can abbreviate any word to its initial. You can't. They have to be justified by the dictionary. So I'm fully expecting, so I've put CH in, Companion of Honour in Switzerland. What are we looking for here? I can't remember. What was it? Check. So we haven't found it yet, look. So we've got champion, chaplain, but I think it will be here somewhere. Well, I think it will. Check in chess. Okay, so when you're writing little chess notation, if you put CH, I think I've seen it as plus as well, but CH means check apparently in chess, and that's why we're allowed to say wrench for sprain has no CH for check, and we're just left with the potential one of pliers. So let me just give this a moment or two before we completely mess up the video. So masses of stone parted by large implement. I mean, the other thing is that with the word implement, it's obviously singular. So we're looking for something, words that I know of that look like they're plural but aren't. Things like biceps. Biceps is a singular word, but it looks like it's plural. So we're looking for a word like that. And I know pliers is a singular word, even though it looks like it's a plural. So So it's good from that perspective. I think I've got to go for it. It didn't take much convincing, did I? Now, this is the pregnant pause. Look, I can... it's right. That's good. I scanned down there because you can see the leaderboard and you can see 0 errors. And that always comes up for some reason before the green crossword. So... yeah, okay, well that's good. And all we've got to do, I think, the only clue we were in any doubt about was to check why a pier is a massive stone. Well, okay. Its initial definition is a massive stone. I mean, I know obviously a pier is in a sea pier, but I wouldn't describe it as a massive stone. I mean, to me, like Brighton Pier is not a massive stone, but apparently, I suppose, okay, I mean, maybe in olden times, before we got into sort of proper architectural piers, an old word for appear would have just been some, you know, masses of stone thrown out into the sea. Yeah, but it wasn't obvious to me. And let's just look at pliers to show you why it's a singular. Pliers, there you go. Well, noun, plural, a plural noun, a tool. So although it looks like it's pluralized, it's a tool, like a pair of pincers. And I think it will exhibit biceps is a muscle. Anyway, we did it. We got it right, and I hope that there was a reasonable amount of information in there for those of you new to cryptic crosswords. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy these videos. We do them because we think that there is a sort of a portion of our audience who really do enjoy the crossword content, and we love solving them, but we're not sure it's for the masses. So let us know. Give it a like if you did enjoy it. Give it a subscribe if you're not subscribed. All these things help with that puzzle we cannot solve, the YouTube algorithm. And we're back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.